All right, what's going on, guys? Here with a quick trade breakdown. I haven't posted a trade breakdown in a while, but here I had some time to actually take a trade. For those who don't know, I'm obviously, the summertime we usually run a summer camp where we're helping younger kids, high school kids, middle school, elementary, kind of get better at basketball, preparing them for the upcoming seasons. Also helping out, people that are just starting out, kind of giving back to the community. All right, so I'll be kind of busy till end of July and till about mid um August, like the first week of August, I believe. All right, so I'll be back soon, but yeah, I was able to have some time to take a trade. Fortunately, just up to the London high here. A pretty easy trade breakdown. So I kind of break this down here as to why I took this trade. All right, so first and foremost, so I do know that we did have Trump speaking, but when is FOMC meeting, right? You can trade kind of before if it's obviously A plus setup. It's not really like the typical FOMC news release, right? So it was a trade day. All right. So first things first, we go through our trading protocol. All right. So starting from the higher time frame, right? So, obviously looking at this, we traded back down into the weekly fair value gap. We have weekly SMT, right? Um, so and then obviously respecting higher time frame PD rates. So in my eyes, we're bullish, until proven otherwise. I figured we get a reversal here since we took out previous weekly low. And figured that we're gonna start trading higher into London high and then obviously Asia high and then previous daily high because considering that we took out previous daily low. All right. So, obviously, price opened up 9 o'clock. There wasn't much to really trade off of. So at first, I was thinking that okay, we might trade into this gap up here. Maybe take out Asia high, have some S&T then reverse, but obviously we didn't see that, and then price ended up reverting back down um into this 15-minute gap that uh that I was actually interested in taking. All right, so seeing that, it's perfect, respecting that 15-minute gap. Right. So my thesis was right, bullish order flow, 20 inches, 50-minute gap after we tap to that daily. Sorry, that weekly fair value gap. We're below 930, right? So my drawn liquidity, was that Asia high overall. We had obviously previous daily high, Asia high, but I was simply just going for this London high right here as my draw. I was simply going for this London high. We also had Asia high up here, right? But I was just simply going for that London high, keeping it simple. All right, so now we have our high time frame thesis. So now going down to the lower time frame, right? So let's delete this real quick. Right. So going to lower time frame, it was kind of messy. I was looking to take a short, but only if we got into this 1 hour gap. So we didn't, so that we formed a high before the London high, which kind of tells me that okay, they're engineering buy side liquidity to be taken out later down the line, as we didn't take out London high before. All right, so waited for that second macro, nothing really, all right? But we end up trading lower here, into the lunch macro, right? So we had New York AM SMT, so ES took out the AM low, right? And NQ didn't, right? So we had some SMT there. We also had this 50-minute gap, right, that we're trading into, that we're respecting, right? And during our time of interest, so we did have SMT before, excuse me, at before the macro, so we can enter anytime 3 minutes before from either 11:42 to 12:15, right? We have to enter within this area, right? We can't enter after because the SMR didn't happen before, sorry, didn't happen during the macro. It happened before. So therefore we can enter from 42 to 15, right? So we had SMT. So next thing I wanted to see was change of state delivery, right? So let's get this tool out. So we did have this series of down candles I've seen here, right? Now we had an inversion, right? But we also traded back below it once we hit the macro, right? So I was kind of waiting to see if we're going to displace above this inversion gap, use that support to then trade higher, right? So lower time frame protocol, right? You want to see SMT, right? Junior time of interest, and I want to see a change of state delivery, right? So boom, we get our change of state delivery, right? Getting that big displacement candle closing above this inversion gap, all right? Also giving us a buy side inefficiency right here, a bullish for value gap, right? So perfect. So now my entry was actually at the inversion gap, right? Right here at the inversion gap. All right, boom. All right, so boom. So I think it was actually the next candle. Yeah, the next candle. All right, so entry, we have inversion gap. All right, stop loss was below the displacement candle's low. All right, so I didn't have much contracts on. I'll actually just change it here. All right, perfect. All right, and then my take profit was at the London high, right? So boom, in the trade right there, right? So now we just kind of let it play out. So as we got here, stop loss, obviously at break even once we closed strongly above this high and formed another bullish fair value gap. I was kind of confident that this trade would play out from there, right? And you can take a partial at these highs, right? So, you can take out two contracts there. So, but since there wasn't obviously original consolidation was Asia high. It's just a buy side, buy side liquidity, right? So I went for the one shot, one kill, right? Just went for the full pull, right? Not taking any partials. All right, so it was in the trade for a while too, because obviously had Trump speaking at too, but boom, right? So then after that, TP hit, right? So again, the three steps, higher time frame, right? We have institutional order flow, right? Are we bullish or bearish based on structure, based on are we respecting PD arrays, etc. Right? Step two would be our point. It would be our draw liquidity, whereas market most likely going to reach for. In this case, I just kept it simple with the London high, right? Um, and then step three was your point of interest. So we had this 15-minute gap here, right? Also 30-minute, whatever, right? That I use for my point of interest for us to get from point A to point B. All right. So lower time frame, right? Time of interest. You want to be make sure you're looking to take a setup during a macro, right? Which is 45 to 15. Right. You want to see SMT. We had this New York AM SMT, right? So ES took out the morning low when NQ did not, right? And then step three, right? You want to see a change in state delivery. We had this inversion gap that we displaced above, use that support, right? So entry at this inversion gap, stop loss below displacement candles low, a series of up close candles, right? And then target, which is London high for a full pull. All right. So looking at that trade there, risk to reward is pretty good. So risk to reward, all right, boom right there. Target right there. So about a 1 to 6.5 risk to reward. So if you're risking $1,000, making obviously 6.5, whatever you're risking, you're making 6.5 times more. All right. Pretty good risk reward there. So thank you guys for watching this video. Let me see you guys in the next recording.